What's up, DC Nation? Welcome to another video on the Joker War. Now today we're checking out Batman number 98, guys. This is part 4 of Joker War. And so far in the storyline, we're seeing like Harley keep saving Batman. Like Harley saved Batman like twice now. So like, yeah, she's pretty much protecting him. But Batman's pretty much has like this toxin in him. And last issue we saw Harley give him some tea and him pretty much just go hallucinate, alright? He's hallucinating a lot and now he sees Alfred. So he's stuck in his mind talking to Alfred while Harley is outside of his mind in like this garden, right? And she's just taking care of him, but somebody's about to knock on her doorstep and about to fight her, and that's Punchline in this issue. But yes, also what we see is the return of Catwoman, Penguin, all the Batman rogues. As we know, guys, in Batman number 94, like the last prelude issue before the Joker War, we saw Catwoman actually go into hiding with all these rogues, right? So they've just been in hiding at like the Iceberg Lounge. That's it. But what are they playing now? And that's how this issue opens up. Now, guys, I'm going to link it below in the description, the Joker War playlist. So, if this is your first video, you're checking out this channel, then go get caught up below with all the other stories like Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood Outlaw, like those are all the tie-ins, Harley Quinn, but also catch up on the previous 3 parts, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that you gotta know going into this issue, and I don't want you to feel lost, alright? So check out those and then come back to this video. But yeah, guys, without further ado, let's dive into the issue. Guys, how this issue opens up is we see Riddler and Scarecrow in the Iceberg Lounge, and they're just talking, right? They're playing chess. Now, Scarecrow is saying, oh, I know what you're thinking about. You think about every move that you do against the Batman, how he beats you every time. You playing chess, it's like you try and move around, trying to think that you can outwit the Batman, but he just keeps beating you. And Riddler's like, why are you trying to make this a big thing? Riddler's like, no, we're just playing chess. And Scarecrow's like, I'm playing a different game. And Riddler's like, what is that? And Scarecrow's like, I'm playing you. And that's when Riddler jumps out, pretty much Scarecrow flips the table, and they just start fighting, right? So Scarecrow got under pretty much Riddler's nerves, right? Got him mad. Now we see Penguin, he's watching this, he's like, well, that was predictable. Did anyone put any money down on how quickly Eddie would flip the board? And he's talking to Catwoman, and they're seeing these news reports, right? About Joker, pretty much the Joker War, everything that's going down, pretty much all the different crime in Gotham City, and Penguin's saying, wow, so Joker's hired some mercenaries to carry out his work. One of them is Firefly. I'll probably hire him when all this is done, because he's doing a good job. Somehow Firefly has become like a good villain. But we also see Catwoman, she's like, this is all my fault. I gave him the weapon, he needed to do this. I gave him the money to fund his war, Penguin. Because guys, you remember, pretty much Catwoman moved all of Bruce's money to somewhere else, and she thought she was avoiding the Joker, but instead, she actually let the money right into Joker's bank account, so she made Joker a billionaire. Now we see Penguin, he's like, don't undersell yourself, dear. You gave him the money to win his war. And Catwoman's like, has there been any sign of him, of Batman? She's thinking like, where's Batman at? And Penguin's like, no. The Bat appears to have been taken off the board, like the Batman's gone. And Catwoman's like, come on now, Bat. Pull yourself together, this saves some pain, it's calling out to you. So guys, something that's interesting about this though, is come on, this gives me City of Bane vibes. Like, come on, like that's not the best vibes to get. Like, City of Bane was not a good storyline, but still, you have Catwoman, she's just like, come on, Batman, pull yourself together. Like, didn't we just go through this? Like, Batman was just down and out, he wasn't doing good, he couldn't fight off against a big villain, but this time, instead of Bane, it's Joker. Now, this storyline is better executed than the City of Bane, but still, it feels like, okay, we're kind of going through the same thing. But good news, but unlike Tom King, James Tynion actually gets Batman back together in this issue. Like, he finally becomes Batman once again. Like, he's still Batman in this issue, but he's kind of like depressed, where he becomes actually like ready to go, get the family together by the end of this issue. We'll see how that develops. But before we go to Batman, his mind, we actually shift to Harley, right? She's in this whole garden, she's above Batman, Batman's all talking, just random stuff. She's like, man, he's really hallucinating. And she's saying, alright, where's Poison Ivy when I need her? She's like, I need somebody to talk to in this garden. And she hears somebody, and this person says, wow, you won't ever shut up. Like, I should have pretty much cut deeper. And Harley's like, Poison Ivy, is that you? But turns out it's Punchline, guys. You see a splash image. It's really dope, actually. Like George Jimenez's art, which I'll go deeper into later, but it looks really good. We see Punchline. She walks out. She's ready to fight Harley Quinn. What she says is, you thought if you brought Batman here, you could lure your old girlfriend out of hiding. That's sweet. But Harley, you really should have pickles somewhere a whole lot less flammable. So Punchline's gonna blow the whole place up. Like, well, not blow up, like pretty much set on fire. And what we see next, guys, is as they're fighting, we see Punchline just pretty much putting all these plants on flames. Which I'm wondering, where's Poison Ivy? Like, you think about it, guys. Like, Poison Ivy would be mad, alright? She sees Punchline just burning our whole place. Like, I think Poison Ivy would show up and kill her. But what we see, guys, is then Punchline says, "Oh, come on, Harley. I thought you like to have a little fun." And Harley's trying to carry Batman. She's like, "Dang, you're heavy. I thought you were light because you pretty much jumped to rooftops." We see Harley. She's like, "Come on, Batman, wake up." And Punchline's like, "Batman's not going to save you, you old clown. He's not saving anyone." And she says that toxin running through his system will take days of agony to clear. By then, there won't be even a city left to save. Stop hiding behind your failed hero. And Harley's like, "Oh, I'm not hiding behind Batman. I'm hiding behind this freaking gun." Like, she has a gun ready to go. She starts shooting at Punchline. And this battle continues. And you see pretty much Punchline, or flamethrower, gets thrown out of the way. And Harley says, "You know, Punchy, I'm really starting to not like you. Like, first you cut my throat, and then you pretty much set on fire the best place, the one place in Gotham that's not screwed up." And that's what she continues to say. "I don't know how Joker twists you up like this." And Punchline's like, "You don't know anything. You never have. And I sure as hell don't need a flamethrower to kill you." That's when Harley's like, "Oh, honey, I went soft on you last time." They start fighting, guys. It's a Harley Quinn and Punchline rematch, which is really cool because seeing, if you guys read pretty much the Harley Quinn number 75 backup story, that was like a Joker War tie-in, which I actually went over on this channel. It saw Harley coming back from almost dying and her being ready to go. So to see her actually go against Punchline, it's really cool again. But what we see is they keep fighting, and Punchline just starts taunting her. She's like, "You think you're somebody because you had some kind of come to go moment after you lost to the Joker? Somebody's bought into their own hype." Harley's like, "You don't know what you're talking about, kid." And Punch is like, "Of course I do. Everyone knows the pathetic story of Harley Quinn. How pretty much Harley was a psychiatrist. She was a graduate. She was doing good. Then she tried to help out criminals. She met the Joker, had sympathy for him, and then pretty much bailed him out, pretty much Arkham Asylum, and became Joker's main girlfriend, right? We see how Harley just got manipulated. Punchline says, "You're too stupid to realize you're just a means to an end." And Harley says, "And what the hell do you think you are?" Harley's like, "You're talking crap to me, but what do you think you are?" And that's what Punchline says. "I was in school when I saw that the world was falling apart around me, and everyone was pretending it wasn't." She says, "I felt like I was going crazy until I heard him speak. It took me a year to find him out of the world, and then I actually convinced him. It took a little while." Yeah, actually, remember in the Joker 8th anniversary special, we saw Punchline kill this guy to convince Joker that, hey, I'm not playing around. Like, pretty much Punchline's like, "You can trust me. I'm not playing around. I'm actually crazy." And what we've seen here is she's like, "I believe in the Joker and what he stands for. I'll be at his side when he finally kills Batman, and we take the city over, and everyone else hears his message." And Harley says, "You know, I feel sorry for you, kid. You still don't see that we're exactly the same. I thought Mr. J had a heart. You think he has a brain." And she continues to say, "But he's not doing this for any of these reasons you think he is. He doesn't believe in anything. He's a manipulator." And then she just punches Punchline because Punchline's like, "No, you're wrong." And then Harley just starts beating the crap out of her, guys. You see Punchline try to punch, Harley dodges, hits her to the ground, just gets on top of her, and she starts mauling her, guys. It's actually a pretty cool fight. "I feel sorry for you, Punchy, but not sorry enough to not kick your ass." She says there's nothing in this world he's ever going to care about more than the stupid bat. And Punchline punches her in the face. "You're wrong, and I'll prove it." And she starts running toward Batman. She's like, "I'll prove it by killing the Batman myself." Now, before we continue, that's a bad idea. Like, first off, like, if you guys remember Mad Love, when Harley actually almost killed the Batman, Joker got furious. He almost killed her because he's like, "No, I kill a Batman. You don't kill the Batman." So Punchline actually carries this out. She's gonna die. Like, if she kills Batman and tells Joker, "Yeah, I killed him," Joker would be like, "What?" And he'll probably shoot her, right? And guys, I actually like what Harley said. How Harley thought Joker had a heart, where Punchline thinks he has a mind. Which is a very interesting contrast which it shows that both of them were manipulated, and Punchline is no different than Harley Quinn. But before we continue how this fight ends, let's go into Bruce's mind. What he's thinking about. Remember, he went crazy when he took that tea, right? And he saw Alfred. Now, how this part starts out, guys, is you see Bruce, he's just making his batarangs. And Alfred says, I trust that on some level you realize how expensive computers, all the stuff that you're using to build his batarangs is gonna be. And Bruce is like, hey, check this out. I can actually make more utility belts. I can make some new stuff. Bruce is just thinking kind of happy. He's like, I can make my suit all awesome. I can do some cool stuff. But Alfred's like, there's part of you that still thinks it's possible, even now. And Bruce is like, Alfred. And Alfred's like, your brain is reaching into your memories to find the right kind of optimism. You want desperately to be this version of yourself. And Batman's like, I don't understand what you mean. Of course you do, Master Bruce. You have the keenest mind of any man I know. And Batman says, Harley Quinn gave me some tea. And Alfred's like, yes. And Batman's like, you're not real, you're dead. And Alfred's like, yes. And Batman's like, Alfred. And Alfred's like, but you aren't. You've been given the gift of being able to pretty much check out from a side view, pretty much like an overarching view, and to see everything that's going on. Look back on what's been going on with the Joker War and find a way to win. And he then says to Batman, now, if we're going to have some tea, let's do it properly. They go into the kitchen, Alfred's making this type of tea. Now, Alfred's like, hey, tell me what you see. And Bruce says, it's your Darjeeling blend. The one from the cupboard to the left of the pantry. You keep it in a glass jar. You would bring it to me in the cave on the cases where I was the most disturbed and frightened. You always knew when I was afraid. And Bruce is like, that helped me out. But when you were gone, when you died, I tried to make it. Bruce is like, I tried to make that same tea, but I couldn't. I couldn't make the same tea that you did. And I'd always be afraid. And that's when he's like, it's been bad, Alfred. And Alfred's like, tell me how bad it is. And Bruce is like, he's using my family's money to give up the legal system and keep his gangs in the streets, terrorizing people, killing people. He's taking the forge to the manor, Wayne Enterprises. He has Lucius Fox poisoned and manipulating him into making all these different Joker mobiles, Joker planes. He's like, he's taking the Wayne fortune, he's gonna drag Gotham City to like just destruction. It's all my fault. And Bruce is like, I'm a failure. And Alfred just keeps telling him, he's like, you saw it from the beginning. The Joker lives in a cold, dead world where you and he are the only real living beings. Alfred says he mocks your family by pretty much getting close to those who actually help him out, like Punchline. He manipulates people like Punchline to pretty much emulate the Bat family, right? How pretty much Batman's Catwoman. Well, Joker has Punchline, but he's doing that to get into Batman's face. Not because he loves Punchline, right? It also shows that Joker is always trying to do something to get to the Batman, to beat him. That's all he cares about. He cares about nothing else. Joker knows that they're opposite, that the Batman and Joker are totally opposite, and he says there's no difference to him in taking one life or a million lives, but there is to you. So it shows that Joker doesn't care about killing people, where Batman cares about just one single life dies. That's a big deal. He says to Alfred, he's like, wait, is Batman a childhood dream? And I was like, yes. It is a childhood dream, Master Bruce. Like, did you really think traveling the world, coming this Batman, would actually be real? And he says, but there's a weight to the promise you made to yourself as a boy. It would crush any other man, and it has nearly crushed you more times than I can count. And since you lost me, it's come the closest I've seen. So that promise that Bruce made to make a war on crime has really deconstructed him, made Bruce weak. And then Bruce is like, I'm sorry. And Alfred's like, no, boy, listen to me. Look at me in the eyes. You have spent too much time trying to save my life because you won't accept that I'm dead. He's like, you blame me on Damien. You blame me on Richard Grayson. You blame me on all these people, but you can't see them actually gone. You gotta move forward. And Bruce says, I'm a failure. I failed. And that's when Alfred slaps him in the face, guys. Slaps him in the face. And Alfred's like, no, damn it. This story isn't over yet. You're a Batman. You need to accept the world you live in, accept what you can control. And Bruce's like, holy shit. Like, guys, imagine you're Bruce, right? You're like, wow, what the heck's going on? Like, it's kind of, you know, it's in like a very calm voice, talking, yeah, I'm a failure, this, that. And I was like, no, boom. Slaps in the face, like, shut up, listen to me. This is pretty much like, I'm kind of surprised by this because I don't really think Alfred would do this, but it does push the plot forward a little bit, or at least the scene, right? But we continue, and Alfred says to Bruce, and he is like, you need to accept that you did not and cannot save me. You also need to accept that you cannot save your parents. He's like, but you can save yourself. Save yourself and save everyone in Gotham City. Every life you save is a victory against death, against the Joker. And Bruce is like, I don't think I can do it alone. Now it's like, then don't. Find your family, find your love, find everybody that supports you, and join together and take down the Joker. And Bruce is like, if I wake up with my mind intact, I won't hear your voice anymore. Bruce is like, if I wake up, I won't have you. How will I move forward? And Alfred's like, you have to move forward. You don't need me on the other end of the back computer to know exactly what I would say in that circumstance. So wake up, my boy. Tell the sea who you are. He finally wakes up. Punchline's like, you're awake. That's not possible. The toxin in your system, Batman has no hold of me anymore. And Punchline says, but how's that possible? And Batman jumps up. He's like, cause I'm Batman. Well, he doesn't really say that. He's just like, I'm Batman. But I always think of, guys, have you watched pretty much how it should have ended where Batman's like, cause I'm Batman? That's what I always think of. When you see this actually thing, I like how George Chimes draws it, where it's like the cape and it says Batman. Like, that's pretty dope. When you see him jump, he takes down Punchline, and Harley's like, finally, you're pretty much up. Because I'm getting annoyed of hearing Punchline just talk and talk. Like, you know how Punchline said at the beginning of the issue that Harley talks too much? I think it's reverse. Like, Harley talks a lot, but Punchline talks like 2 times more. Like, she talks a lot, guys. She's trying to taunt Harley, and Harley's just like, shut up. So she's happy that Batman has finally taken down Punchline, and that's when Harley says, you got your head on straight, and Batman's like, that depends. And Harley's like, the whole place is on fire. She burned it up. And Batman's like, yes, then my head is on straight. Batman's like, okay, for a second, I thought my head was on straight. There's just so much fire around me. And he says, I need to reactivate my communication system. And Harley's like, I think you fried your circuits back at the theater. And Batman's like, I don't underestimate what I can fit into this belt. And he said, I call it a battery. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, this is actually stupid. I didn't actually like this part, because come on, that's just dumb. A battery, like, really? That's just not good. And Harley's like, really? Like, she has the same reaction as me. Like, actually, she's kind of like, what the heck? But me, when I was reading this, I was like, okay, that's kind of dumb. I didn't really like how James Tynion actually wrote this part, but it's a quick part that won't ruin the issue, right? But how this issue ends, guys, is you see Batman, he calls into his communication system. He's like, call everyone, call all my family. So that means Nightwing, Batgirl, every single Bat family member will be in next issue, which is really cool, and we're finally at that part, right? But how that issue officially ends, you see Catwoman. She gets the call. She's like, I gotta get out of this iceberg lounge. And she comes to Riddler and Penguin, and she's like, hey, you're gonna help me out in taking down the Joker. And Penguin's like, why would we do that? We're safe here. Why get involved in that Joker war? And Catwoman's like, what if I told you I could make you a billionaire? So that's how that ends, guys. So what I have a question about is, if Catwoman got that call from Batman, she's gonna go help out Batman. But if Riddler and Penguin join, could we see Catwoman, Riddler, and Penguin join Batman in this fight against the Joker? That would be so awesome, right? That would be really cool. But also, next issue, we're going to see all the Bat family members. Now, the one thing I have a problem with, though, is this is part 4. We have 2 issues left, and we're just getting to the point that Batman's going to be getting his whole Bat family involved. Like, we only have 4 pages left of the story, and there's a lot to cover, which I hope James Tynion actually covers it right and just doesn't rush it, right? But yeah, guys, overall this issue, I thought the whole Alfred and Batman part was emotional, it was done well, but it's a little too wordy, and that's something that James Tynion always gets, like, criticism over. And most of the time, I'm like, nah, I feel like people are being too hard on him, but here I'm like, no, I actually see it. It's too wordy here. Now, the Punchline Harley fight was dope. It was really cool, but especially in that part where Punchline was talking about Harley's pathetic. Like, yeah, it makes sense. It shows, like, the contrast, but I feel like that was a little too wordy, too. Now, guys, so George Chimes' art, that was great, guys. Especially when Batman showed up, he's like, I'm Batman. And how the Batman was, like, pretty much the words were inside the cape. That was just so cool. And guys, Harley versus Punchline, that whole fight sequence, which is, the panels were laid out perfectly by George Chimes. Like, I really feel like George Chimes is the best artist for this book, and he's a real star of this whole entire storyline. Like, yeah, James Tynion is writing it, and he's doing a pretty solid job, but George Chimes is just doing a perfect job. And I love his artwork, and I hope he sticks around after the storyline. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm going to give this issue an 8.3 out of 10. I thought it was solid, but the only problem I have is there has to be a lot of plot progression, and going into only the last 2 parts of this whole storyline, there needs to be a lot covered. I hope that James Tynion does not rush it. But guys, in the comments below, tell me about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think about the Punchline Harley Quinn rematch? What do you think about Alfred and Batman's talk? And How do you think Catwoman, Penguin, and Riddler will get involved in this Joker War? But guys, like the video, give a big thumbs up on YouTube. Make subscribe to my next Joker War video. I do the tie-ins, I do the main storyline, and other issues that really help out, give you guys like context on the story. Like especially like pretty much the Joker 8th anniversary, which I'll actually link that down below. This is one of the stories in that issue actually gets the origin of Punchline. So you don't know that, check out that video below. But yeah guys, thanks for watching and peace out.